What is up, guys? Welcome back to Will of DDT. My name's Anonymous, and today we are here bringing you a OP 8.5 tier list. So for those of you who don't know, in October we are going to be getting 6 new starter decks, one for each color, that are going to shake up the game quite a bit. And since this is a brand new untested meta, Japan has not played this before because they were too busy running around, with like 90% law.
Disgusting.
Disgusting, bro. This is going to be fun. It's going to be the wild, wild west, guys. North America is going to get to develop its own meta for once.
A better meta.
A better meta, hopefully. So I'm joined here by my friends Mujinator and Obipity, and today we are going to be giving you our predictions for the OP 8.5 meta. Starting it off, the 2 Barons of bottom decking are banned, and thank God for it. So we've got Sokka and Law down there in the Get Wrecked tier. And then moving on, these are all decks that we think probably aren't going to be that good. A few of them are getting some benefits from the starter decks, but we still don't think they're going to be that great. So yeah, Obipity, do you want to start off with Chopper?
Yeah, I mean, Chopper, look, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure what this deck does. I'm pretty sure Anonymous told me yesterday that you're allowed, or it lets you
give 3
remind me. I forgot again.
Yeah, it's legit. Just you take 3 rested Dawn and you give them to 3 of your, or like,
there we go,
1 to each of your 3.
Okay.
On board.
But as we'll probably mention later on in this video, there is a Chopper or an animal package or Drum Kingdom that Chopper does run, but there's a leader who does it a little bit better. And for that reason, it's not going to be that.
No spoilers. We'll get
to it. Yeah. Moving on, Uta, Smoker, Whitebeard. All 3 of these are leaders that are going to be getting a new starter deck once OP 8.5 meta hits, but we just don't anticipate any of them are going to be really that good. The Whitebeard starter deck is cracked, but again, there's another leader that's going to use it better. So,
exactly.
Let's just move on to tier 2 over here. Black Luffy. Obipity, I know you have some strong opinions about this.
I'll be honest. Okay, first of all, props to the guys who made top cut at Liverpool with this deck.
Yes.
But realistically, I don't think it's a real deck.
Yeah.
It is a black. It's a black deck. It's a mono black deck. So it theoretically has access to Isho, Moria, Lucci. But the way this deck works, Moria, Lucci, it doesn't synergize because your trash isn't filled up that much. And on top of that, it's kind of counter. It's almost like the counter to a normal black deck while still being a black deck.
Yep.
And I just think there's not enough support within the black color for it to actually be that great. And I think because it's a newer deck right now, when people did play against it, they were just a little bit confused and just not understanding that this is a 6K leader even on defense, or all these characters are plus 1K also on defense.
Yep.
So maybe your Rebecca's, your Sabos, and Borsalinos, or everything basically it's just a little bit harder to remove.
Yep.
But I think once people start to get used to the deck, they'll be like, okay, it's not that different.
Exactly. It's just you're so prone to making mistakes because your opponent's entire board costs 1 more and their leader is 1K power higher, and you might just legit forget that because nobody's playing this deck.
Yeah.
Once it starts being in circulation, people know what the leader does. They're not going to make those mistakes anymore. We don't think it's going to be that good. Moving on, we got Carrot. Mujinator, I know you've played against the Carrot package a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, again, another leader probably uses this better, but tell me what you think.
Much better.
Yeah.
So Carrot, I think, is suffering from the unfortunate bad things about the previous decks we talked about how they released this deck with a certain package that unfortunately another deck that we'll talk about. It seems to be the trend for these next few decks. like these decks aren't bad.
Yeah.
But other decks just use their decks way, way better. And Carrot just happens to fall in that place too. I'm in the same boat. I just don't know what Carrot does because I know her package just works a lot better in, spoiler alert, Bonnie, a lot better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we just put her in this list just because we know that she just has a good package.
Yep.
The leader is somewhat decent from what I remember.
She rests a 5 cost.
Rest of 5 cost. Okay, it's just whatever. Rest of 5 cost. That's nice.
Yeah.
Actually, it's pretty damn nice.
It's pretty
nice. Yeah, you can rest anything with Bonnie. Yeah, exactly. So it's just play Bonnie at this point.
Yeah.
Same color.
This might be a theme, but just play the better color.
Play the better color, yeah.
You'll see it with green, you'll see it with blue, red.
Listen.
Look, there are going to be some packages that are good, but better leaders
If you
within the
just
same
love-
color do it better.
If you just love Carrot and you're a furry, man, just play 4 of the character if you really want to.
Yeah.
Just play body at that point, man. I'm begging you.
Alright guys, moving on, we got Purple Black King. This is a deck I know a lot of people want it to be good. Very cool thematically. King has kind of 2 combat modes in the manga / anime, and he's got 2 abilities, one for some draw power, one for some cost reduction. But at the end of the day, he just ends up not really doing either super well. He's trying to mix some ramp, some draw, some draw / cycle, some KO potential, and he just ends up not doing any of them as well as the other leaders.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very true.
Purple black, not a great combination so far.
So far.
Maybe Bandai will fix it. There is another purple black leader Z, our beloved friend Dual or Irrelevant loves it.
Yep.
Not a great deck though. Purple black, as we know, this is one of those where it's like just play a better color.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just pick a different leader,
Yeah.
pick a different color combination. Purple Luffy, I mean, we won't devote too much time to it. It does get a starter deck that has some goodies in it, but I don't think it's that good. But yeah, some people might steal some wins with it. Always a leader you have to respect. Yeah, Perona, always decent. And then Kaido. Kaido, why don't you talk about this Mujinator? I know this is your baby.
Listen, Kaido is my baby. I've picked up Kaido back in pre-release format, first structure deck I ever had.
Yeah.
He's finally making a comeback with one new addition to Purple. We all know her. It's the new Black Maria coming out. Just this addition, first of all, you don't know what she does. She basically lets you ramp 5 at the end of your turn.
Insane.
And after that, you pretty much subtract down to match your opponent.
Yep.
So with a leader like Kaido, where he has some -7, it like matches perfectly. It's like the perfect fit for him.
Yep.
I know Anonymous, you've been cooking like crazy. You have a lot to say about your burn Kaido rendition of this deck.
I enjoy it, man. It's a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely not the best way to play the deck, to just burn every turn. But the fact is, you can now if you wanted to.
You can do it
It's
now.
crazy. Your Onigashi was finally searchable. Your
Yeah.
Black Maria is searchable. You get to just spam burn and just take away your opponent's life, get them down to 0 by just doing literally nothing. It's cool, man. It's really
By no means is Kaido back at the top. He's not tier 1, definitely. He just gets one tool to make him do a bit better. That's about it.
for sure. Katakuri, we just think is not going to be too great in a meta full of fast leaders. Vegapunk, we think it has some potential, but it does take a really good pilot. And then over here, Red Green Law, if you haven't seen our deck profile already, check it out. I think he's goated, but we are going to give a conservative estimate and put him at the top of tier 2. But just very versatile deck. The more diverse the meta is, I think the more of a sleeper, very powerful deck Red
Definitely.
Green Law could be. Now moving on to our tier 1s. Let's start filling this out a bit, Bippity.
Yeah, we'll start off with Nami. I mean, there's not much to say about Nami herself. Like,
Nami's always going to be a tier 1. Just
yeah,
the nature of the
like,
deck.
again, like if it's one of those things where like if you like playing Nami, good for you. If you like playing One Piece,
Don't play Nami.
don't play Nami.
Yeah.
But moving on, we got Moria, just another aggro deck that just happens to have removal, being black, access to Moria, access to Isho, access to Sakazuki, ton of cards that removes, and also just the ability to go wide
Yes.
and keep hand advantage as well.
Mori's doing what Mori's been doing.
Yeah.
He's always going to be good.
Yep. Next up, we have got Anel. Why don't you
Yeah.
talk about this? He's fallen from glory.
Yeah.
I know, man. Like it hurts me. I know there are a lot of NL haters out there, but let's just say you don't know how to play this deck properly.
Yeah.
This deck is absolutely. I will say, in a vacuum, it's the most broken leader. When you die, you don't die.
Yeah, that's it.
Objectively, that's what it is. But I just think it suffers from the inability to have a mid game, as well as relying so heavily on its top end.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that top end towards the end game, and you're just not able to heal as many times as you need to,
Mhm.
you just suffer a whole lot.
Yeah. Boards are going to be a lot wider.
A
by
lot
the time
wider
we
to
return.
handle it,
Yeah. Yep. Now we got Kalgura.
Yeah,
Mutinator,
so
man.
Kalgra, just big boy Kalgras, get the big bodies on the board and just beat your opponent down. I think, like I said, aggro is the name of the game this meta.
Yep.
I think aggro is what's shaping up to be like the deck to beat. Kalgra is the yellow aggro this format.
Yeah.
Just by turn 3, 6 down, you pretty much have a full board of all swingable units.
Mhm.
Yeah, you get to low life, but at that point, your opponent has to try to get an answer for your board,
Mhm.
or else they're just going to lose next turn.
Yeah.
Just being that heavy aggro and still having good card advantage, I think Kalgra gets a good spot in tier 1.
It's similar to Nami, where you have bigger bodies and a bigger board.
Yeah.
With but because you're taking your own life using leader effect,
Yeah.
you have a sizable hand, and you use a
Exactly.
ton of counter events. So you're leaving Dawn up, and you have a lot of this counter in hand.
Exactly.
The one downfall to it is there's not really any defensive measures in this deck.
And the things that like all of Kaligra's deck is low to the ground in terms of cost.
Yeah.
Everything can be removed easily by pretty much anything, any other card, color in the deck.
Yeah.
Sorry, color in the game.
Yep.
For blue removes everything. Green can rest anything. But again, he just aggroes really fast.
Yeah. Moving on, we have Bonnie.
Yeah, Bonnie, definitely we think it's gonna fall a little bit. It's like it's not as good as it was in the previous meta, but it's still just a scary leader, bro. One Dawn to rest
Anything. It's just
It's nasty. And then with its package, the new carrot package, like we said, you play the 4-cost carrot, and every turn you're able to keep a 7-cost rested.
Yep.
It's pretty damn good.
You can also run that Electric Luna event,
Yep.
which just keeps an entire board frozen for a whole turn.
talking just Kaligra. You can rest an entire board of Kaligra because nothing is over 6.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, some good stuff. Falls a little bit, but yeah. Here we've got
Zoro.
Got the King of Aggro is back. Like we mentioned before, Chopper does get a Drum Island or a Zoo package.
Yep.
Zoro just uses it better. You're able to play your... I think the new Zoro builds run like 24 different copies of Chopper, which play each other out and add cards to hand. It's ridiculous. So you're able to keep hand advantage as well as build a board even quicker than before.
Yep. Crazy. And next up, we have got Pudding. Man, Pudding is just kind of crazy. I never thought Bandai would allow you to ramp to the most broken boss monster in the game. Here we are.
Just into it quicker.
My God. Pudding can consistently hit a 10-cost bomb by turn 4. She also has 9-cost bomb, which in some cases is an even scarier card. You get a heal and a removal. I mean, just it's definitely a scary deck. The only thing is she only has 4 life, and you have to aggro. If you aggro her down, she will die pretty quickly.
In a meta where aggro is the name of the game, it can be really hard for a deck that ramps to survive up to that point.
Putting ramps really well, drops those big bodies really well. Its one downfall is, again, no defensive measures and doesn't have a ton of hand size.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna put her still pretty high because you gotta respect the leader, but like she can get beaten down pretty easily by some matchups. And then we got Reiju. Why don't you think about this much name?
Reiju, she's been my girl since she came out. I took her to the most recent regionals before La got banned.
That was ballsy, bro.
Yeah, I got pieced up. But now
By loss.
3 laws in a row. It is what it is. But Reiju mains, you can be happy. I think she's in a really good spot right now. The only reason why she wasn't good last month is just the pure existence of La.
Yeah.
Now, like we keep mentioning in this video, she is probably one of the best aggro decks in the game, especially with the addition of Portia. Portia, she can play herself, play a little Germa character, and then summon the big one right away.
Yep.
Just getting a really big board for only 3 Dawn, and you can stay at 3 Dawn the whole game if you really wanted to. I know Obipity, you run a version of it with
Bonclays. I do Bonclays. You can play it off of the Portia and then have extra Dawn. So there's also a way to play the deck while keeping 7 to 8 Dawn consistently.
Exactly.
And I think that's
fine. Again, you don't have to worry about being that much lower than your opponent anymore since the lies in there.
Yep.
As long as you're 1 or 2 Dawn under, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And actually also for people who want to, I know some builds run Black Maria just so that you can ramp up and play that judge.
Right away. Yeah.
A lot of times you're like 2 turns away from it. Now you can just say next turn I will judge.
Again, I think Reiju, especially with the star of the deck, you have the Ichiji. Just 4 cost minus a card on the board by 2. Rush 7 is just
insane.
Against any deck that's just an objectively good card.
Yep.
The only reason it's not in our top tier is because I think it just suffers a little bit if it doesn't see stage or doesn't see the Portia Ichiji card.
Really reliant on its key pieces.
If it doesn't see those, like that deck is cooked. Like there will be times where you see absolutely
and you have like 20 cards in hand, you're just sitting there doing
and you're like I can't even dig further because I don't have stage. I don't have if you play the German 6 package as well, the stage package, the event package. There's just no way to shuffle through your deck. But aside from that, which you only hit maybe like once in every like 7, 8, 9 games.
Yeah.
But other than that, this deck is amazing.
Now moving on to the top tier, we got our boy Marco. I'm excited for this. I invested in the stonks early on. I got the 9-cost Sanjis and my 9-cost Newgates ready. And I think after the starter deck, this guy is going to be really cracked because the Whitebeard starter deck, again, doesn't benefit Whitebeard too much, but it comes with some awesome things for Marco. We get a 7-cost Whitebeard, 7-cost 8k that can rest itself to KO a 5k unit. And on play, it can attach a Dawn to anything. So on 7 Dawn, on curve, you can just slam down a Whitebeard. He attaches 1 Dawn to Marco. Marco's leader ability minuses something by 2,000, and then Whitebeard rests himself to kill a 7k unit. It's crazy. And if you have an Otama in hand and you got 9k for 7 Dawn, bro.
That's insane.
Or 8 Dawn, I guess. But still, it's insane. Like, its control options are so good. It's got some crazy, boss monster options in the 9-cost Sanji and Newgate. I'm not even sure if that's going to end up being run in the final.
I can definitely see a big option though.
Yeah, I think it's solid. It's really solid, and this leader just perfectly sets it up with his ability. And then you also have in that starter deck a 5-cost 6k ace. 1k counter. It also has rush if your leader is Whitebeard Pirates, which Marco is, and then it also can't be removed from the field once per turn. It can save itself by lowering its power instead. Super solid card. So it just gets Marco gets some stacked cards in that starter deck, and we really do think he's going to be one of the best decks in the game.
Agreed.
Moving on, Obipity, what we got next in the top tier?
Next we got Lucci. I'm very sad to see this deck still here. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
I just don't like you on that. I just don't like the removal in One Piece. I just think Lucci is too good at removing everything and anything all the time.
Yep.
But I do respect players who play it. I think it is a very hard deck to pilot.
Especially with the staging. Especially with that. It's definitely not autoplay like it used to be.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But ultimately with the introduction of Jack, 7-cost Jack, that just lets you...
Nasty card.
It lets you draw, lets you cycle through your hand as well as KO a 3-cost.
Yep.
And the fact that it's every turn, you just rest it to do so, and then you can just play blockers to keep it safe.
And he's virtually 11 costs, so once you put him on board, unless your opponent's playing Red Rock, they really don't have any way to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah, just really.
Or Raigo.
Yeah, sure.
Even then, Raigo, that's Yellow's whole turn, so they don't really care. Like, honestly, that's a really great play for Lucci.
Yeah. Black Yellow Luffy.
This is your
this is
your wheelhouse.
Yes, sir. The fact of the matter is, a 9k leader is just a pain in the ass for so many.
9k leader.
Like, even against Reiju, which is one of the best decks in the game. I've always found myself in a position where they can really only get like one swing in because Reiju's minusing so much Dawn. Zoro is buffing all of his units by 1k, but that's still not nearly enough. All these aggro decks, even Dofi, who's spitting out 5k, 6k units, he just does not have the Dawn to attack you that much. So in a meta full of wide boards that are pretty low to the ground, Black Yellow Luffy will actually do pretty well. Against these blue decks, he is a little scared of Gravity Blades and Puddings, but aside from that, if you play around those, which you definitely can, he's going to be a very menacing deck. And last but not least, we have Bia's and my new favorite, Blue Dofi.
Yes. I'm very excited to finally play a deck that doesn't require me to think all that much. I'll be honest, I'm sick and tired of just having to sit through every single play just thinking, okay, if I do this, then what happens next? Like, bro, just let me swing like 5 times. Just let me swing 5 times.
Name of the game. Name of the game that we have discussed. Smart players playing dumb decks.
Exactly.
Is the move.
It is the move. It is the move. And the thing is, Dofi wasn't what didn't used to be a dumb deck, but now you can legit run such a package that he will guarantee like you don't have to set up the top of your deck. Just swing and you will get something.
Exactly. Like, at worst, you hit a Gravity Blade. You get it next turn, and you're chilling. But no, realistically, this deck is going to be absolutely cracked after the structure that comes out.
Yes.
You get the 4-cost Boa that on play, you stack your top 3, and then you get to give a rested Dawn to your leader. So it helps you use leader ability as well as stack deck. And then it also introduces a new 4-cost law that lets you return lets you return a character of your own to hand to return any 4-cost to
the owner's hand.
So to the owner's hand. So a lot of times you're using it to kind of just bring back those 2-costs or those 2k counter buggies to hand. To return, even if you just want to return another like counter or like a Perona or whatever it is you're playing to hand, like you're just gaining hand advantage that way.
Or you can bounce your opponent's blockers if you want. And then he's also got the new Teach, which is also a good Rested Dawn effect. And then he can probably run that Perfume Femur thing since he has so many Warlords.
Yeah.
And just have a Diable Jambe in the deck if your opponent's down to 0 life and walls up with blockers. Like, I don't care. Like, unblockable, just 10k or 15k at face.
Whatever. Yeah.
It's
the
crazy.
fact that blue is given an aggro card like that is just so good for Dopey.
It's so insane. But yeah, guys, that pretty much rounds out the tier list. These are going to be our predictions. I'd be happy to see it shaken up a little bit, but I think from what we know so far, this is probably what we're thinking is going to settle for the 8.5 meta in the West. I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let us know what your hot takes are down below, or what our dumb takes are if you think we're super off. And yeah, we will see you in the next one, guys.
Peace.
Take care, guys.